last week, I kind of wanted to signal what I do and what I'm looking for, and then start off the segment with how those stocks performed, and then we'll go into what I'm looking at this week. We'll keep it super simple and super quick. From last week's callouts, we had Disney, Tesla, and Goldman Sachs all did the exact same thing. They opened up huge, so we didn't actually get a chance to take a position from all of the levels that I was drawing on the charts. Disney, for example, these are my entry points from last week, but it gapped all the way up to 191 at open, so there was no reason for me to hop in because it broke through everything, and then it gap filled. Every single stock in Tesla, Disney, and Goldman Sachs, they all gap filled. They all took a big leap down because they opened up so much higher than where they closed at on the previous Friday. That's been a huge trend in the market, so that's one thing I would keep an eye on. That's exactly what NNOX did. So that's where I was signaling last week that they got FDA approval in the 64. I said it was going to open up around $60, and I was going to take some puts. So we bought puts in my Discord channel, but the IV percentage was so high, we ended up actually not making too much money on these. Huge move, though. Humongous move, but it just did not make as much money as we thought. We bought puts, so we were making money on the downside. So as it was falling, we were making profit. Not the best return in terms of how far it dropped, just because the implied volatility percentage based off of the news was enormous. So we ended up buying at the top and selling around 53, 52. Made a great percent return, but nothing as extraordinary as you would expect with that big drop. So I didn't get to take a position in Tesla. I didn't get to take a position in Disney or Goldman Sachs because they gapped up. But we did catch the NNOX puts from last week, and we also caught the Facebook calls, which was the best call of last week by far. It was a layup trade, this 304 all-time high break. We took the 305 calls, we took the $300 calls, and we rode the break, and it took all the way off to 310. 310 was unbelievable before it found its new resistance line and then started retracting or retracing a little bit or consolidating, and then it formed a bull flag on the next day. So we caught profit here, we sold, and then when it was falling the next day, I was like, oh, this could probably break out here off this bull flag. And yet again, it did. So we took some calls, the 305 calls for the next day, and swung them overnight, weekly risky calls, and then we sold them up here around 312. This was my take profit line, and as it broke through, I rode a little bit higher to 312, and then we sold. So that was a great trade. Facebook was amazing. So I hope you got that call out. That was one that didn't gap up overnight and fill the gap below. This one stayed intact, and we actually got the breakout here. Facebook was great. An honorable mention that I mentioned last week was DraftKings and Penn. I was saying that it was forming a bull or a bear flag. Excuse me. It was forming a bear flag, so you should buy some puts around this 105 range. And with the news, that was also helpful that Dave Portnoy had a sex tape. As soon as that came out, it plunged. So we actually ended up getting some of these puts here on the downside when that came out. And then it kind of overreacted quite a bit. It was around $100 stock, and then he even came out with an emergency press conference that this is unbelievable that the stock was dipping because of him. Really, he has nothing to do with how the company is operating and how the business model didn't change anything. So we ended up buying some calls and riding them up for a quick like 50, 60, 70% day trade actually, and we held up for probably 30 minutes. So that was great money. Discord channel caught this one. Discord channel caught Facebook and the NNOX puts. We didn't get to play Disney, Tesla, or Goldman Sachs because of that gap up, like I said. So that's what happened last week. It was pretty crazy. I hope you guys got to catch some of those because they were all great call-outs, but we just missed out on the plays because of the gap up. But this week, if there are no gap ups, we have some great plays. I'm going to signal 3 this week, and then I'll give you a couple honorable mentions. One that I'm loving this week is SI and Mara because the cryptocurrency is going to go off. Bitcoin's been kind of surging this weekend, and the Coinbase IPO. Coinbase going public is going to be huge for the crypto market. A lot of people have seen the revenue numbers spike unbelievably just over the last month or two compared to their whole year performance. It's like the numbers are astronomically larger. And it just goes to show that cryptocurrency is here to stay, and it's going to grow. It's going to be a huge market. Big banks are buying in and everything like that. But anyways, long story short, I'm looking at SI here above this 164. We ended up actually buying the 150 calls around 142 last week and swinging them into this in anticipation of this Coinbase IPO. was signaled by our other professional trader, Drew, but we all hopped in, we did our due diligence and confirmed that this was a great entry point. So got around 142 last week, and we're still holding these 150 calls. And as you can see, it's around 163. They're up well over 100% right now. I think it's near 200% actually right now. But this could continually run, especially with all the bullish sentiment coming around with Coinbase IPO. We could see this break this previous resistance line around 163.58, around 164, and this thing is going to go. It could go. Hopefully, in my opinion, we could see this previous high of 176. So if we get 176, we are living. I'm probably going to buy some more calls on that break. So around 164, if you see this break with volume, it's going to go. So I would buy your calls. 416 more so. I think there's a lot of bullish sentiment coming around here. Maybe we even see all-time highs of 187. That would be unbelievable. I don't think that this touches 200 this week, but I think best case scenario it does. So SI is going to be one of the biggest movers this week. I would hop in some calls and get some exposure to that as well. If it starts breaking down, somehow maybe people aren't as bullish on Coinbase or it's had too much hype, I would start buying puts around this 150 range. So 150 is on the put side, 164 is on the call side. But I'm leaning more towards that the call side is going to be where we would see a huge breakout. And these premiums pay so well. They pay unbelievable. I think like a $5 move will pay you about well over 50 to 75%. So it moves quick too. So make sure when you're involved in that, you have the stomach for some volatility because it's pretty crazy. But above this, it's going to make you some money. I also like Mara. We actually also have signaled this in my Discord. I took a position in Mara, $50 calls for this week as well, in anticipation of this Coinbase IPO. I really like this. I really like this call a lot. It's probably going to, hopefully it doesn't gap up too crazy with Bitcoin running and Coinbase IPO, but I have $50 calls, and I would love to see this $50 call take me to 52. If it breaks this with confidence, this bad boy can go all the way up to 56 to all-time highs. So I'm probably going to hold these 416s in SI and Mara, as well as add to them. So the puts on this one are going to be around $46 for me, $47 break. Yeah, this $47 break, I'm going to buy puts on them, or I'll just hop out of my current position. But this would be a great put entry, and a great call entry is above this $50 mark where its VWAP is. Like I said, $50 would be a great entry for the call. And then a nice resistance line is 52, so you can start taking profit around here. And then if it breaks this with confidence and volume, and there's a lot of momentum, this one's going all the way back up to 57, 56, 66 of this resistance line. So this one could be a potential big mover this week. So puts below 47, calls at 50 to 52, start taking some profits. Anything above this, we could see all-time highs. As long as Coinbase, Bitcoin, as long as there's a lot of bullish sentiment going, SI and Mara will move huge. One that I really, 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 really like is Chewy. They reported earnings. They gapped down crazy. A lot of people profit took, understandably so. I mean, it went from $80 to $92, $12 move in literally a night. Unbelievable move there. And now it's consolidating, bouncing off the support line. It went through VWAP. I actually swung lotto calls on Thursday and caught this humongous move up. Made a ton of money on lotto calls. I also signaled that on Twitter if you caught that. But other than that, it's always in my Discord channel. So if you want to join that, the link is in the description. And at the end of the video, you can see where to visit the website. But I like this one as well. Chewy is huge here at $85 break. The $85 break, you can see it bounced off of this bottom here. Yeah, it bounced right off this bottom around 84.70, and it took it down a little bit longer. But that's all right. It broke out of this consolidation period, and the numbers look absolutely amazing. Their web traffic is up 12% this month from last month. They're just a growing company. They're the leading company in this sector. Dog food, dog toys, vet health, everything. I love this company. I'm very bullish. It should be over $100 stock. Its recent high is 120 before things got sold off in the tech sector sell-off. But this is humongous. Numbers were great, and now you're going to see some more pull up. I think above $85, I'm going to have some calls. I have May 21st calls right now. May 21st, $85 calls, but I'll probably take some day trades this week as well, above 85. Above 85, we can see 86.45, 87. Anything over that, we can start seeing pushed more towards 90, 92, where it opened up during its earnings report. So this one I'm huge on. I really like SI, I like Mara, and I like Chewy. And then the only other thing that I'm watching this week is the banks. The banks are going to be huge. They're all reporting earnings this week. They're kicking off this earnings season, and I like this a lot. There's a consolidation period here. Goldman Sachs kind of gapped up last week, so we didn't get to take the position, but now I really, really like it, especially with the catalyst this weekend, or this week coming up. Was it 323? Now it's at 330. Yeah, I really like this. It broke out of its consolidation period, and I would love to get some. I'm actually in calls right now. I swung them over the weekend. But I really, really like this play. 332, it's not right there. Yeah, it's at 330. So 332, we can see this really run around 333. The 333 break, we're going to see a huge pop to probably around 335. Anything above 335, I don't really know exactly where this will stop, but with a huge earnings report, I can see this breaking all-time highs, to be honest, or getting close to it. So I'm holding calls from last week. The 330 calls for 416, and I have some for May 21st as well. But long story short is I'm going to be holding those 416s in anticipation that they're going to be bullish going into it, as well as like the Treasury yield auction tomorrow. So that's really going to tell you how, because banks perform better in a rising interest rate environment. So there's so much research I have involved in why I'm taking a position in this, and that's going to just bore the hell out of you. And you guys probably just care about making money. So anyways, the resistance line that I'm going to enter in more calls actually is 333. 333, I'm going to try and probably take some profit around this 335.92 mark, around that 336 range, because I can see a little bit of rejection before it takes off. And then I'll probably hold some for earnings. I'll probably gamble some earnings reports. I'll have some updates on Twitter if I'm going to do that or not, which is at NextEra, NXTERA_Scotty, SCOTTIE, if you want to follow the Twitter page as well. But the banking sector, super bullish with the earnings reports and inflation and their future outlook with rising rates, all this other stuff. Banks will perform pretty well. So that's it. That's really all I got this week. Some honorable mentions are always Melly. Melly could break above 1600. That could pay very well. And Uber would be a good one. It's been a long consolidation. It's not a big mover, so if you're new to option contracts, it might be good to take a position in on the call side and just kind of ride it out, get yourself exposed. And then Snapchat Spotlight is actually popping off right now in the social media world. It's the #1 trending app right now in the App Store. A lot of people are hopping in Spotlight. They're trying to take over like the popular social media. I don't even know. Like they're just trying to make themselves more popular again, and they're paying people tons of money to post on their Spotlight platform and be competitors of TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff like that. So Snapchat, #1 trending one. I can actually pull up the chart for you guys real quick. Snapchat, as you can see, it's running crazy. A lot of people are starting to get involved in this, but an honorable mention here. I have this line actually already drawn out and set an alert. Above 65, Snapchat could actually really break out a lot further. So I'll be watching Snapchat above 65 as well. So you can add that to your watch list, but it's not as much of a, I'm not high convinced on it yet. Like my conviction isn't very high because I think the SI and Mara are going to move because the Coinbase IPO, Chewy, long consolidation starting to break out, and Goldman Sachs, we got bank earnings this week. You could also play JP Morgan, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, whatever. But I'm a big fan of Goldman Sachs. So those are the ones I'll be looking at. Those are some that I already have positions in. I'll probably be adding to at those levels. So if you can hop in some of these, I hope you guys profited off Facebook last week because that was unbelievable. The other ones weren't really there. Penn was a great one, and Melly was a great one as well. Tesla and Disney kind of fell off because of the gap up. So just be aware of those when they gap up that high. That kind of ruins the trade. But these levels here, hopefully you guys can pause them, take screenshots of them, write them down, whatever. Those are going to be where I play them, and those are going to be some pretty key levels. So be careful of everything. The market could sell off this week. Everything's at all-time highs. QQQ is about to test all-time highs, and this Treasury auction that's happening tomorrow could really affect the market in a negative way, because if rates are going to increase or there's fear of inflation rising, they're pretty correlated, so you could see a drop as well. But anyways, those are my high conviction stocks. We got SI, we got Mara, we got Snap, honorable mention, and Goldman Sachs as well, as well as Chewy. Don't forget about Chewy. The top four are Chewy, SI, Mara, and Goldman Sachs. And then we got the honorable mention of Snapchat above 65. I hope you guys are able to get in some of these. If you have any questions, you can comment, or you can join the Discord channel. I'll put the website at the end of this video, and I'll put it in the description as well. Yeah, I mean, that's all I got this week. I hope you guys got some last week, and I hope you guys are able to make some money this week. It's going to be a choppy market, so be careful trading out there. But those cryptocurrency mining companies are going to be pretty great this week, as well as Chewy. Very, very confident in Chewy, as well as Goldman Sachs. So get your positions in. Manage your risk, hedge with a put on the downside if need be, take some profits quickly. You know, the market can return